All right. Shalom and welcome. Glad you could join us today. Today we're going over the book of Enoch, the Slavonic book of Enoch, starting on chapter 34 because we did the other chapters earlier. So now we have plenty of reasons to understand why this was taken out, why this is not in most Bibles anymore. And it's pretty clear to see because it talks of the sun, the moon, death, life, heaven, hell, all these things pretty much together, right? They have rejected my commandments. Now, what do we have here? We have over and over and over, even with the angels, the people who have rejected the commandments. In the end, on judgment, what is being said? In Revelation, who is he going after? Who is the Antichrist? Who is the dragon going after? Those who keep the commandments, those who keep the word, those who do the will of the Father. I don't know why that we have been sold this lie. And most of these people, that's what's sad, most of these people know better. They tell you, oh, nobody can keep the law. Oh, nobody can do this and nobody, which has a part of truth because there's not a man and a woman, right? It's hard to keep something when you're a man. And the woman menstrual laws, you can't keep that, right, guys? Don't have to worry about it. So it's kind of a play on words. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of play on words and the other way, right? The women, like it or not, are not commanded to come to the three feasts. It says the men. It doesn't say the women. Why? Because the women have menstrual, they have children, they have other things to do in life. Now, do they participate? Can they participate? It doesn't say they're forbidden. It just says they're not commanded to do it, right? So the things that we see, we don't add to, take away. We just go with what the scriptures say. And in this case, we see over and over, even the angels are breaking commandments. But obviously, just like it says, as heaven declares his glory, the sun, the moon, the stars, most of them are not. The stars are the watchers, some of the stars, the angels, okay? They have rejected my commandments and my yoke. Therefore, worthless seed has come up and not fearing Elohim. And they would not bow down to me, but have begun to bow down to empty gods and rejected my unity, oneness, sovereignty, and have polluted the whole earth with lies, offenses, abominable lusts with one another, and all manner of other unclean wickedness, which are disgusting to even mention. So here we go. It's pretty clear to see what's going on here. Yahweh does not like sin. He doesn't like the abominable things. He doesn't like us to eat abominable things. Over and over and over again, everybody wants to get into Dead Sea Scrolls. They want to get into flat earth. They want to get into all these conspiracy theory things, supposedly. They want to get into this stuff and they want to hold on to it and debate about it day after day after day. But yet when it comes to something they don't like chicken, it's like, oh, but it's the same thing as. I thought you wasn't eating GMOs. I thought you wasn't eating mixed breed. I thought you didn't mix seeds. I thought we was all above and beyond all this. But then here we go talking about, well, I just can't do it. It seems like that's the ultimate default when you just can't do it, right? If there's something in there, chicken, pork, bacon, turkey bacon, whatever, if there's something that you just really don't want to give up, the default answer is, just don't do it, or nobody can do it, or nobody does it. But that has nothing to do with reality. I do Bible studies and talk with people and things, and there's always like a glitch with it. There's always a point where it's just like, well, no. Most people, of course, is Sabbath, pork, the name. And then you get into the feast. It's just like there's this great big list of things from top to bottom. And at some point, a lot of people are like, I just can't give up bacon bits. I can't just give up adultery. I just can't, whatever is in their mind. We play, but actually that's what's going on. It's like a pack of cigarettes, and I just don't want to quit them because I got another pack, or I bought a carton, or whatever it may be. But if we're not careful, that's what many people do with scriptures, and that's what we find them doing. And most people are just come to a part of, and that's why I think they don't like teachers. They don't like assembling. They don't like leaders, because then they have a responsibility. Then they have to answer to someone, and men on the whole anymore, women don't like that. I can read the Bible for myself. Where and what verse does it say that? Where does it say you read the Bible for yourself, you come up with your own salvation plan, and you're going to be fine? We see Yeshua came and he taught people, and he sent his disciples to do what? We have verses that say, without a preacher, without a teacher, how will they know? How did you learn? You learn this usually from, most people learn this from some man or woman, from some even YouTube, from going to some assembly, to going somewhere, right? Even hearing these things. How did you find out Yahweh? How did you find out Yeshua? Unless the Spirit revealed it to you. How did most people do this? They heard somebody talking about it. I'm going to put these on because this is, again, I don't want to mess it up and read silly. All right, we ready? Let's go. You will see that from their seed shall arise another generation long afterward, but of them many will be full of very strong desires that are never satisfied. That's the problem. It's not so much you lust after someone, it's never satisfied. If you're in a relationship, you can lust after your wife. You should want to be with you. That should be a thing. The problem is, though, is we see all this worldly ways is she's not enough. She's never going to be enough. And that gets in the woman's head. Not particularly the man's head, but the woman gets that in her mind. And that's the way she feels. That's why she's always perfuming, makeuping, and dressing and all this, because she's trying to get to a place that in her mind she can never be, right? And this is where the enemy is crafty and does things and makes people crazy, right? Makes people chase something that they should never be chasing in the first place. Let's go on. He who raises that generation shall reveal the books of your writing of your fathers to them. And he must point out the guardianship of the world to the faithful men and workers of my pleasure, who do not acknowledge my name in empty words. And they shall tell another generation, and those others who, having read, shall afterward be glorified more than the first. Now I, Enoch, I give you a period of 30 days to spend in your house, and tell your sons and all your household, so that all you may hear from what was spoken by my face, so that they may read and understand that there is no other God but me. Again, Enoch is teaching us. He's telling us there's one, there's a God. Same thing from Deuteronomy, right? And that they may always keep my commandments and begin to read and absorb the books of your writing. Again, it's amazing we got to the point of nobody thinks they have to do anything. And after 30 days, I shall send my angel for you, and he will take from you and from the earth and from your sons and bring you to me. And Yahweh called upon one of the older angels who was terrible and menacing, and he placed him by me. He appeared white as snow, and his hands were like ice, having the appearance of great frost. And he froze my face, because I could not endure the terror of Yahweh. Just as it is not possible to endure a stove's fire, or the sun's heat, or the frost of the air. And Yahweh said to me, Enoch, if your face is not frozen here, no man will be able to look at your face. And Yahweh said to those men who first led me up, let Enoch go down to the earth with you, and await him until the determined day. And by night they placed me on my bed. But Methuselah was expecting my return and was keeping watch at my bed day and night. And he was filled with the awe when he heard my return. And I told him, let all my household come together so that I may tell them everything. O my children, my loved ones, hear the advice of your father as much as in according to Yahweh's will. I have been allowed to come to you today and preach to you, not from my lips, but from Yahweh's lips, all that is and was and all that will be until judgment day. For Yahweh has allowed me to come to you so that you could hear the words of my lips, a man who made great for you. But I am one has seen Yahweh's face, and it was like an iron made to glow from fire. It sends forth sparks and burns. You look upon my eyes now. They are the eyes of a man enlarged with meaning for you. But I have seen Yahweh's eyes shining like the sun's rays and filling the eyes of a man with awe. You see now, my children, the right hand of a man that helps you. But I have seen Yahweh's right hand filling heaven as it helped me. You see, the scope of my work is like your own, but I have seen Yahweh's limitless and perfect scope, which has no end. You hear the words of my lips, and I heard the words of Yahweh, and they are like constant and great thunder and hurling of clouds. And now, my children, hear the lecture of the Father of the earth. I will tell you how fearful and awful it is to come before the face of the ruler of the earth, and how much more terrible and awful it is to come before the face of the ruler of heaven, who is the judge of the quick and the dead, and of the controller of heavenly troops. Who of us can endure that endless pain? And now, my children, I know all things, for this is from Yahweh's lips, and my eyes have seen this from beginning to end. Isn't it written that we will know all things? From the Ruach, from the Father? I know all things and have written all things in the books, the heavens and their end, and their abundance, and all the armies and their marching. I have measured and described the stars, the great and numberable multitude of them. What man has seen their revolutions and their entrances? For not even the angels see their number, but I have written all their names. And I measured the sun's circumference and measured its rays and counted the hours. I also wrote down all things that go over the earth. I've written down the things that are nourished and all seed sown unsown, which the earth produces, and all the plants and every green grass and every flower and their sweet smells, and their names and the dwelling places of the clouds and their composition, and their wings and how they carry rain and raindrops. And I investigated all things and described the roll with thunder and the lightning. And they showed me the keys to their guardians, their rise, and the way they proceed. They are let out gradually in measure by a chain. If they were not let out at a measure rate by a heavy chain, their violence would hurl down the angry clouds and destroy all things on earth. I described the treasure houses of the snow, and the storehouses of the cold, and the frosty airs, and I observed the key holders of the seasons. He fills the clouds with them, and it does not exhaust the treasure houses. And I wrote down the resting places of the winds, and observed and saw how their key holders bear weighing scales and measures. First they put them in one side of the weighing scale, then in the other side. They place the weights and let them out according to the measure, skillfully over the whole earth, to keep the heavy winds from making the earth rock. The winds blow and makes the earth hard and rock. And I measured out the whole earth, its mountains and all its hills, fields, trees, stones, rivers, and all existing things. I wrote down the height from earth to the seventh heaven, and downwards to the very lowest hell, and the judgment place, and the very great open and weeping, gaping hell. And I saw how the prisoners are in pain, expecting the limitless judgment. And I wrote down all those being judged by the judge, and all their judgment and sentences, and all their works. And I saw throughout all time and all forefathers from Adam and Eve, and I sighed and broke into tears and spoke of the ruin of their dishonor. And I said, woe is it for me, for my infirmity, and for that my forefathers, and thought in my heart and said, blessed is the man who has not been born. Blessed is the man who has not been born, or has not been born, and shall not sin before Yahweh's face, because he will not come into this place, nor bear the yoke of this place on himself. And I saw the key holders and guards of the gates of hell standing like great serpents, and their faces were glowing like extinguishing lamps. And I saw their eyes of fire and their sharp teeth, and I saw all of Yahweh's works, how they are right, while some of the works of the man are limited of good, and others are bad, and in their works are those who are known to speak evil lies. My children, I measured and wrote every work and every measure and every righteous judgment. As 1 year is more honorable than another, so is it one man more honorable than another. Some men are honored for great possessions, some for wisdom of heart, some for their particular intellect, some for skillfulness, one for silence of the lip, another for cleanliness, one for strength, another for beauty, one for youth, another for sharp wit, one for shape of body, another for sensibility. But let it be heard everywhere, there is none better than he who fears Yahweh. He shall be more glorious in the time to come. Yahweh created man with his hands in the likeness of his own face. Yahweh made him small and great. Whoever reviles the ruler hates Yahweh's face, and has contempt for Yahweh's face. And he who vents anger on any man without having been injured by him, Yahweh's great anger will cut him down. He who spits on the face of man reproachfully will cut down at Yahweh's great judgment. Blessed is the man who does not direct his heart with malice against any man, and helps the injured and condemned, and raises up the broken down, and does charity to the needy. Because of the day of great judgment, every weight, every measure, and every make weight will be as in the market. So they are hung on scales and stand in the market, and everyone shall learn his own measure. And according to his measure shall take his reward. Whoever hurries to make offerings before Yahweh's face, Yahweh will hasten that offering by giving of his work. But whoever increases his lamp before Yahweh's face and makes a judgment that is not true, Yahweh will not increase his treasure in the realm of the highest. When Yahweh demands bread or candles or the flesh of beast or any other sacrifice, it is nothing. But Elohim demands pure hearts, and with all he has done in it, only the test of a man's heart. So whether we do these things or not is really the testing of who we are, right? He says, don't do this. It's really proof of who we are. Do we believe in Yahweh or not? Do we believe in his word or not? I would say it's kind of like your relationship, right? It's kind of like, do you believe in your wife, your spouse, or not? Hey, honey, I don't like mayonnaise on my stuff. Well, I put it on there anyway because I like it. Hey, honey, I really don't like that mayonnaise on my stuff. Well, so what? You see how that gets to be? Hear my people and take in the words of my lips. If anyone brings any gifts to the earthly ruler and has disloyal thoughts in his heart, and the ruler knows this, will the ruler not be angry with him and refuse his gifts and give him over to judgment? Or if one man makes himself appear good to another by deceit of the tongue, but has an evil in his heart, then will the other person understand the treachery of his heart? and condemn him, since his lie was plain to all? And when Yahweh shall send a great light, then there will be judgment for the just and the unjust, and no one shall escape. Notice. Now, my children, with your minds and your hearts, mark well the words of your Father, which all have come to you from Yahweh's lips. These are the books of your father's writing, and read them. For there are many books, and in them you will learn all of Yahweh's works, all that has been from the beginning of creation and will be until the end of time. And if you will observe my writing, you will not sin against Yahweh, because there is no other except Yahweh in heaven, nor in earth, nor in the very lowest places, nor in the foundation. Yahweh has placed the foundations in the unknown and has spread out heavens, both physical and spiritual. He anchored the earth on the waters and created countless creatures. Who has counted the water in the foundation of the multiple, changeable, corruptible, or the dust of the earth, or the sand of the sea, or the drops of the rain, or the morning dew, or the winds blowing and breathing? Who has filled earth and sea, the indestructible winter? And then Yahweh, cut the stars out of fire and decorated heaven and put it in their midst. Right there, right? The sun goes along the 7 heavenly circles, which are appointment to 182 thrones. It goes down on a short day and again 182. It goes down on a long day and has 2 thrones on which he rests, revolving here and there above the thrones of the months. From the 17th day of the month, Tisabon goes down to the month of Tevan. From the 17th of Tevan, it goes up. When it goes close to the earth, then the earth is glad and makes its fruits grow. And when it goes away, then the earth is sad, and trees and all fruits will not flower. And this he measured with good measurements of ours, and predetermined a measure by his wisdom of the physical and the spiritual realms. From the spiritual realm he made all things that are physical, himself being spiritual. So I teach you, my children, and tell you to distribute the books to your children. Into all your generations and among the nations shall you have the sense to fear Yahweh. Let them receive them, and may they come to love them more than any food or earthly sweets, and read them and apply themselves to them. And those who do not understand Yahweh, who do not fear Yahweh, who do not accept but reject, who do not receive the books, a terrible judgment awaits these. Blessed is the man who shall bear their yoke and shall drag them along, where he shall be released on the day of great judgment. Right there, isn't it pretty clear that whether you like it or not, it's a yoke. It's something to do. The commandments are not just okay. Obviously, it's something that some people have a problem with. But that yoke and that burden is light. It's not unbearable. It's not something you can't do, right? Chapter 49, I swear to you, my children, but I do not swear by any oath, neither by heaven, nor by earth, nor by any other creature, or by Elohim. Yahweh said, there is no oath in me, nor just injustice, but only truth. But there is no truth in man, so let them swear by the words, yea, yea, or nay, nay. And I swear to you, yea, yea, that every man that has been in his mother's womb has had a place prepared for the repose of that soul, and a measure predetermined of how much it is intended that a man be tried and tested in this world. Yea, children, do not be deceived yourselves, for there has been a place previously prepared for every soul and every man. Right there. I have put every man's work in writing, and none born on earth can remain hidden, nor his works remain concealed. I see all things. Therefore, my children, spend the number of your days in patience and meekness, so that you may inherit eternal life. For the sake of Yahweh, endure every wound, every injury, every evil word, and every attack. For if your good deeds are not rewarded, but return for ill to you, do not repay them to neither neighbor nor enemy, because Yahweh will return them for you and be your avenger on the day of great judgment, so that there should be no vengeance here among men. Whoever of you spends gold or silver for his brother's sake, he will receive ample treasure in the world to come. Do not injure widows or orphans or strangers, for if you do, Elohim's wrath will come upon you. Stretch out your hands to the poor according to your strength. Do not hide your silver in the earth. Help the faithful man in affliction, and affliction will not find you in the time of your trouble. And bear every grievous and cruel yoke that comes upon you for the sake of Yahweh. And thus you will find your reward in the day of judgment. It is good to go morning, midday, or evening in Yahweh's house, for the glory of your Creator, because every breathing thing glorifies Him, and every creature, both physical and spiritual, gives Him praise. And it says, parentheses, gives His praise back to Him. Blessed is the man who opens his lips in praise to Yahweh of the Sabaoth, and praises Yahweh with his heart. Cursed is every man who opens his lips for the purpose of bringing contentment and slander to or of his neighbor, because he brings Elohim into contempt. Blessed is he who opens the lips, blessing and praising Elohim. Cursed before Yahweh all the days of his life is he who opens his lips to curse and abuse. Blessed is he who blesses all of Yahweh's works. Cursed is he who brings Yahweh's creation into contempt. Blessed is he who looks down and raises the fallen. Cursed is he who looks to and is eager for the destruction of what is not his. Blessed is he who keeps the foundation of his fathers that were made firm from the beginning. Cursed is he who corrupts the doctrine of his forefathers. Blessed is he who imparts peace and love. Cursed is he who disturbs those who love their neighbors. Blessed is he who speaks with humble tongue and heart to all. Cursed is he who speaks peace with his tongue, while in his heart there is no peace but a sword. For all things will be laid bare in the scales of balance, in the books, and on the day of great judgment. And now, my children, do not say our Father is standing before Elohim and is praying for us in our sins, for there is no helper for any man who has sinned. You see how I wrote down all the works of every man before his creation, and that is done among all men for all time. And none can tell or relate my writing, because Yahweh sees all imaginations of men, and how they are empty, right? Your friend request was accepted. Oh, there we go. And how they are empty. You see how I wrote down all the works of every man before this creation, and this is done among all men, and now can tell or relate my writing, because Yahweh sees the imaginations of men. Man, and how they are empty and prideful, where they lie in the treasure houses of the heart. And now, my children, mark well all the words of your father that I tell you, or you will be regretful, saying, why did I not? Why did our father not tell us? Let these books which I have given you be for an inheritance of your peace in that time that you do not understand things. Hand them to all who want them, and instruct them that they may see Yahweh's very great and marvelous works. My children, behold, the day of my determined period, term and time, has approached. For the angels who shall go with me are standing before me, and urge me to my departure from you. They are standing here on earth, awaiting what has been told them. For tomorrow I shall go up to heaven, to the uppermost Jerusalem, to my eternal inheritance. Therefore I bid you to do Yahweh's good pleasure before his face at all times. Methuselah answered his father Enoch and said, what food is agreeable to your eyes, Father, that I may prepare before your face, that you may bless our house and your sons, and that your people may be made glorious through you, and then that you may depart as the Father has said, as Yahweh has said. Enoch answered and said, Methuselah, hear me, my child. From the time when Yahweh anointed me with the ointment of his glory, there has been no food in me. And my soul remembers not earthly enjoyment, neither do I want anything earthly. My child Methuselah, summon all your brethren and all your household and all the altars of people, that I may talk with them and depart, as is planned for me. And Methuselah hurried and summoned his brethren, Regem, Reman, Euchan, Cherimum, Gilead, and all the others and the elders of the people, before the face of his father Enoch, and blessed them, and said to them, Listen to me, my children, today. In those days when Yahweh came down to the earth from Adam's sake, and visited all his creatures which he created himself. After all these he created Adam. And Yahweh called all the beasts of the earth, and all the reptiles, and all the birds that soar in the air, and brought them all before the face of our father Adam. And Adam gave them names to all things living on earth. And Yahweh appointed him ruler over all, and subjected all things to him under his hands, and made them dumb and made them dull, that they would be commanded by man, and be in subjection and obedience to him. And Yahweh also created every man Lord over his possessions. And Yahweh will not judge a single soul, a beast for man's sake, but he judges the souls of men through their beasts in the world, for men have a special place. And as for every soul of man is according to number, similarly beasts will not perish, nor all souls of beasts which Yahweh created until the great judgment, and they will accuse men if they did not feed them well. Wow, ain't that something, right? We're going to take a break there and come back, but this is amazing to me. It's amazing that, especially like it said, that angels was all around him getting ready to carry him into heaven. Have you ever heard of some of the righteous people, I would say, have said this very same thing? There's angels here. There's angels here. I can't see them, or I know they're here. Isn't this amazing? So until next time, may Yahweh bless you, may his kindness shine upon you, and may he grant you shalom. We'll start off with chapter 58 and try to finish it off. That's how much we got left. Take a little break and come back in just a moment. After these messages, we will be right back. Shalom. Thank you for listening, for watching.